Goss.
Here.
Mayor Butler.
Here.
And Commissioner Vanilla said he's planning on being here, but he might be a little bit late.
Okay, minutes of the regular meeting of January the 9th. Any addition or correction? If not, they will be approved. Minutes of the special meeting of January the 12th. Any addition or correction to those? If not, they will be approved. Now, let's see. I believe maybe you have something you want to bring to the council?
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Happy birthday, Mayor.
Thank you.
Baby.
Good evening, everybody, and happy birthday, Mayor Butler. Hello to the board. Our Pastor Lee, has been in the city since 1992, and in 97 he started pastoring. In 92 he came up here to help start a ministry, so he came up here helping already. What we have before you, what I would like to request is that for our 20th year anniversary of him being pastor, that you, Mayor Butler, and the board will approve of Hill Street, where his church Refuge Temple stands, be honorarily named Pastor Larry Lee Sr. Street. And also on May 12th, we're having the anniversary service of his 20th year of being pastor. And Mayor Butler, I would love for you and whoever might want to accompany you on that day to present him with keys to the city on that day. That would be a great, awesome celebration. It'd be great to see you there. What Pastor Lee has done over the last 20 years of being pastor, he's helped those who's been less fortunate, helped those who needed a home, needed clothes, food. We had a food pantry. He just continues to help people all the time. He's been doing it for so long in the city of Marion, this great city of Marion. And as Marion grows, our church grows. And we would like for you, Mayor Butler, and the board to come together and to be able to grant this request to rename Hill Street Pastor Larry Lee Sr. Street on that day, as far as also granting him with keys to the city. Not only does he help grown people all around and adults, but he also helps children.
Truly, we thank the council today for listening to us. What we want to do, we don't want to change Hill Street. We just want to put over it honorarium of Pastor Larry Lee Sr. That's what we want to do. And we want you to know we appreciate being in this city. For 20 years, we have done a great work in the city. It's been great here. Came in 1992 doing ministry work and just working in our communities. And also the banquet that I come and talk to you about, maybe I might get to put that in here tonight. When I come and talk to you about, it's been 18 years, that's from Refuge Temple. And every year he has grown. Matter of fact, we get calls already about the banquet. We get calls from all over about the banquet. Because it's not just our community, it's people coming from all over. And also, not only just coming from all over, they get more hotels and all like that. They put money into this city. And so what we were going to do is, for our 20th church anniversary, church is closing down like everything else. But this church has stood still. They have stood the test of time, and we are grateful for being there. We thank God. To God be the glory. And what we was going to do, if you all would tonight agree to put the honorary Pastor Larry Lee Sr. up over Hill Street. We won't change Hill Street, because Hill Street is a good street, and we just want to put his name over top of that. And also the day of the anniversary, if you could give him the keys to the city. That's our request on tonight.
The only problem with that, he's done great work in this town, but since it's not on the agenda, we wouldn't be allowed to act on that tonight, but that's something we can consider, though.
It's not on the agenda.
Right.
Well, I had assumed that it was on the agenda. We came and talked to the mayor.
Well, unless I missed
Well,
something.
we can make an agreement to agree later.
Oh, yeah. I think we will agree to do as you have requested, but we'll have to wait till our next regular meeting to act on it officially.
Okay. That would be
When
great.
is that?
Yeah.
I think that you could do a resolution without it being on the agenda for the purpose of the recognition, but I think for the next meeting, when are you going to be doing this, ma'am?
The 12th of March.
Yeah, we've got time. Let's just go ahead and put it on the next agenda for the passage of the resolution renaming the city, I guess, temporary, the sign, excuse me.
The street. We'll have to figure out how to do it because if we maintain the Hill Street signs,
Yeah,
then we'll have to work out something how to impose this
right.
on it,
Yes. That's
which
what
I
we
think
We
we
have to
can.
have an ordinance to do that. Can't we just put one over it and be done with it?
Well, it'd be better, I think, if we have a resolution. We don't need an
Resolution,
ordinance.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
He's been
And-
active for years. He's done good work.
Yes, yes. Also, too, while I'm here, I would like to talk about the banquet. Will that be all right?
That surprises me.
You already know, Mr. Goff. All right. This year will be 18 years for the Young Hearts with Goals and Purpose Banquet. Thanks to the City Council and to the City of Marion, you all have been a great asset to this event. The mayor has been out there several times. We think enough of you to even present a plaque. We feel that you deserve that. When you put your money into something, I feel like you ought to get something back. And so this year, we was asking if you would take care of the building again at the pavilion. And then Mr. Goss, you know, I wanted $2,000 at one time, and then it got a little quieter here. You said, let's give him $1,500. We want $1,500 again. Will that be all right to the council?
I can't speak for the council. It'd be all right with me.
But I'm just saying, I said,
It's not your money.
I know, no, I just want him to know, I appreciate him saying that. I know everybody gonna have to agree on it.
But I've been voted down a few times, so I've been voted down a few times.
Well, I know, but we usually win on this one.
Okay.
On this event, we usually win every time. And hoping tonight will be a great success. We would like to ask the council if you would please do
Have you
that.
talked to Jared Garrison, the director of the pavilion, to reserve that day?
He has already called me about that.
Oh, he's called you.
Yeah, he's called me, he know I'll be on it.
Well, sure.
Yes.
It's the same thing. We have to do it later again on this too, or?
We can agree on it.
Yeah, we can agree to,
Memorializing it the next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll bring it up next.
we'll take care of it. We'll make it official at
Okay,
our next meeting.
okay. Thank you all for your time, and we appreciate each of you. Have a great night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, let me see. Where is the gentleman with the traffic lights?
He's right back here in the corner. Can't.
Yeah, come forth here.
Nothing prepared for the end.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for your time this evening. What I'll be walking you through is a part of your packets tonight. We've been working with the city for probably 3 or 4 months now on a program for emergency vehicle preemption. Emergency vehicle preemption provides green lights to first responders, fire, police, EMS, through traffic signals in your city. It's been done, this solution's been around for about 50 years, early 60s. There are many agencies in the state of Illinois that use it. It's been here for quite some time. I date myself. It's been on vehicles in the Chicago metro area as an example since the early 60s. So what you have in your packet essentially describes some of the highlights of what it is that the products do for the first responders. This is really about providing public safety. So for those, the traveling public and your citizens, it becomes a reinforceable behavior for them. They get used to first responders getting green lights and for them to get red lights in opposing directions. And it provides your first responders who are on their way to an incident a green light on their way there. So that's the bottom line. What you'll see on the first slide is that it'll name the agencies and some of the benefits that they get. I'm not going to necessarily talk you through each slide in the deck because some of the information is pretty self-explanatory. One of the things that it does for the traveling public that is proven by the Federal Highway Administration is the reduction of signalized intersection accidents due to first response. 70% reduction has been proven now over the course of 50 years, and that includes anybody who's in that group of folks that I mentioned to you before. And so what it's doing is it's providing that traffic signal green to the first responder, and it's ensuring that the public stops. It's been demonstrated to improve response times for first responders, up to a 25% improvement. And for those of you who have ever called for public support from a first responder, you know that seconds count when it comes to your life and when it comes to the property and well-being of your citizens and visitors. And so an example would be that every 30 seconds that goes by for a heart attack is not good news for the person who's looking to get to a hospital to get help. I heard a piece today from Charles Osgood, interesting, timely piece on a doctor that uses an emergency vehicle preemption unit like we've described in an agency on the East Coast that lets him use it now. But he demonstrated in his research that each minute that he gets to a stroke victim improves their likelihood of a full recovery. And each minute that passes, that they'll lose nearly 2 million brain cells. And that's a tragedy for those who need care. So what we do is help you get there safe, and we reinforce the behavior for those that who need to get out of your way. A good example would be, and I'll close with this and take questions if you like, would be, I think it's on DeYoung, correct? Is that Route 13? If my memory serves me correctly? That's what's known as a streetscaped road now, right? IDOT invested a lot of money here. It's a beautiful road, creating this sort of traffic pattern for you. But as I was visiting just now with your EMS supplier, and I'm sure that if I spoke to your fire chief and your police chiefs, they would validate this, that streetscaped roads create problems for them to get to people who need help. They're beautiful, but people don't know how to get out of the way, and they can't get out of the way. Why? The traffic lights are red. I give them up to a half a mile away a green light, which means that traffic going through gets out of the way, and the people that are in the left lanes get out of the way before they even get there, so that they have through passage and they can keep going. So that's the net of what we do, and there's been a proposal presented. I'm not sure, I think I'm supposed to stop short of those kinds of things at this point. If you want to take over, I can help out. Are there any questions?
Well, I think of DeYoung and the railroad track. I mean, there's not much we can do with the railroad, I guess.
Oh, I can't get around trains. But that's commerce, right?
Yeah.
Other questions?
Have you ever worked with any towns that actually had an issue after it was installed, that it just caused more of a traffic disruption? And in other words, it had unintended consequences whenever you disrupt the normal flow of traffic, where it actually caused more of a traffic headache? Have you worked with any towns that rescinded the system because of that?
Never taken it out. They recognize that the disruption of traffic, when it comes to people's welfare, it happens.
Made it worse, right?
Well, yeah, and for the reasons that I described before. And then if you take the fair argument, by the way, because it does happen. We do disrupt traffic. We disrupt coordination. It happens. And it happens in 3,100 agencies in North America. So,
Okay, now, suppose the emergency vehicle is on the road, and there are 2 or 3 cars at the intersection where the traffic lights are. Now, how far away will the emergency vehicle be when it activates whatever it is that's activated?
it's a radio system, sir, and so it'll, the radios in the intersections receive transmission from the radios in the vehicles.
Yeah.
And it can happen up to a half a mile away.
Half mile away, okay. Then, what happens? Your green light is activated? How do cars know to get out of the way of the emergency vehicle?
So today what will happen is that the emergency vehicle will approach behind folks, and often they don't hear it as it comes up, and then they get stuck because there's nowhere to go when they do arrive. So far, so good? So you pull up, the emergency ambulance, fire engine pulls up behind you, the intersection light is, maybe by happenstance it's green, in which case they theoretically should get out of the way,
Yeah, but
right?
suppose it's red.
But if it's red, they're stuck. They can't go anywhere, and everybody waits, including the first responder.
Okay, then does the emergency vehicle activate the red light to change it to green?
Correct, sir. So what I do is I put a call into the traffic controllers that you have today. I notify that traffic controller that I need to clear pedestrians with a minimum clearance of 4 to 5 seconds, is it? 5 seconds. and then I will put in a yellow, which will go 2, 3, 4 seconds, and it'll go, the red will go, it'll clear pedestrians, give the hosing direction a minimum yellow, and then I get green. And if your emergency vehicle is making a left turn with this system, sir, it'll put the protected left turns that you have at your intersections on to clear folks that would be in your way going left out of the way. I give the 3 opposing directions a red light, so they all stop. The greens go through, the through traffic moves on, and then they have an opportunity to clear the intersection, get from the left to the right for the emergency response vehicle.
Now, this is good if everybody interprets the lights right.
Correct.
And if they don't, where are we?
They'll get out of the way. What we've shown over the course of 50 years of practice is that people behave, and we reinforce the behavior for them to get through the light and get to the left, or get to the right. And that's what they do. I recognize that I can't control what people do.
Yeah.
There will be folks who get
Yeah,
confused.
I'm assuming that the emergency vehicle will have the red or blue lights flashing.
Correct, sir?
What's the average cost per intersection for this?
There's a couple of different ways.
What is the average cost per intersection? They did about 6,000. Yeah, around 6. It was around like 6 or 7,000 per intersection for us to do it. We did get a quote, and I don't know if you guys got.
May I, before we go any further, Tim, may I ask one more question before he starts, because when he starts talking, we can't stop him. So, but it seemed to me like the biggest safety issue is the cross traffic more than even the traffic going through. Because when you come through those lanes at, say, at Carbon or Russell, I think they're having to cross 10 lanes basically of traffic before they get across. If they don't hear the lights coming, they can get T-boned. In fact, I think we've had some experiences out around here already. And I would think that's the most safety thing, more than clearing out the green light and get them out of that way, is to keep people from crossing the T-bone at these lights.
Correct.
Is that a valid point or not?
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, I have an anecdotal contrary point to that, is that after 17 years of patrolling, the main issue, and most officers, it drives us crazy, the main issue is people actually going the same direction, not necessarily cross the road. We're cussing our car, like, get out of the way, you know, we're like going the same direction, and they don't get out of the way. That's the main issue.
Right,
And
they
to
would
be
be an
honest with
issue.
you, I spoke to most officers, and they actually laughed at this idea. They was like, this is not even necessary.
I don't think
I
I'd
think
laugh
we're
at
probably
it.
pissing money away that we can spend on something else, you know, basically.
How many accidents we
Who
have?
says this?
I'm not going to give names, but it's several officers, both senior,
Okay, police officers
Right.
have said this?
yeah.
Marion?
Well, Marion, other towns. I mean, you can use some more, you know, streets, upgrades, sidewalks, et cetera. I mean, this is just something we don't need, I mean, basically.
I think the safety of people and
Another plus on this is you're a vehicle sitting in line at the traffic light, an emergency vehicle coming. If you're first and there's 7 cars behind you, you don't see the red and blue lights coming. You hear the sirens, you don't know which way they're coming from. A lot of them are watching that light on the traffic signal. If your preemption turns it, you'll find people with emergency signals on, and they're just sitting there watching the traffic
I mean,
light.
Anthony's the only other person up here who's qualified to speak on how it is driving to an emergency. I mean, has that been your experience too? Where people are not getting out of the way the same direction you were going?
Oh, yeah, we had more trouble
Right.
wearing what was
Exactly.
in front of us than what was to the side of us.
Because they don't know which
But-
direction you're coming
Well,
from.
the people to the side of you are watching what's in front of them.
Sure.
But, you know, we're just talking about one issue here. You know, we still have cell phones, texting, you know.
Yeah.
You can clear all the lights you want to, but if people are not paying the attention
Absolutely.
and are distracted in front of you, and you have no control over that. But I mean, I just come back from St. Louis, and I'm sitting there in the passenger seat watching people drive 70 miles an hour plus, and where they, you know, they're on their phones, you know, and there's, you know, I'm not saying this isn't a useful tool, but, you know, I just don't know. I didn't know there was an issue in Marion. I'll be honest, and I was a firefighter for 32 years.
Now,
One of the things,
I drove big fire trucks.
yes.
yeah.
And I see more of an issue for a fire truck and an ambulance.
Well, and
do a police-
actually, we have the fire chief and Lifeline, Kevin McConnell from Lifeline, because part of this, as the council knows, we like to look ahead. When Doug, Terrence, Brian Fisher, this is a combination of many departments, not just fire and police.
Except the council, till tonight.
Well, but part of that, we do research, bring it to the council. Part of it was we looked at a try and buy program to try and see how it works by using, for 60 days, several cars or a police car and a fire truck, or maybe an ambulance and a fire truck, and 3 signals? 3 traffic signals, to see how it would work. One of the things, and Terrence passed out, when we look at safety, I think Kevin and Jerry, fire chief, could all speak to how difficult it is for either of them. Police cars have a habit of going and driving up and down and have more movable, are able to move through lanes maybe easier than a fire truck. An ambulance, Doug was telling a story about trying to watch an ambulance, trying to get through the intersection. If that's somebody we love in that ambulance, and they're trying to get to the hospital, you know how difficult it is with 6 lanes or sometimes more lanes, because we have turn lanes, to get that ambulance through. And Kevin, I don't know if you'd like to speak to that, but...
I can. Gail, I had a resident mentioned to me this evening that out on the single point interchange under I-57, they recently witnessed, an ambulance trying to get through, and with all those lanes merging, they're not at right angles. It was very confusing for a lot of people.
That's right.
They thought it'd be a really good thing, at least in that one intersection.
Over here on Main Street behind the Dollar Tree or whatever else, I've been there when our ambulance is trying to get through there and everybody's at a red light and they're stuck. And you don't have a way to merge over, you can't do anything if you're stuck at that red light in that intersection. To me, that's probably one of the worst ones that I've witnessed.
Mm-hmm. So part of what we looked at was looking at trying something, because part of it is you never know how it will work. We never know as far as reaction or what people need. We always try to be on the forefront of looking at what's next coming out, because this is technology, it's roads, it's our emergency services trying to get through, and we have a lot of traffic. I know the mayor said the other night, he was talking about how many cars there were, and the lanes are very crowded. So part of it is trying to get our emergency services through, and this was a try and buy program. We're not looking at the whole thing, but if we don't know, we're approaching budget time, and if we don't know if it works, and part of it is, if the council doesn't want to even try and buy it, that's fine. Maybe we'll wait 5 or 6 years, and the other 3 major cities in southern Illinois are right behind us, wanting to be in line. We were actually, thanks to IT and safety and streets, we actually have talked to IDOT. IDOT is in favor of letting us try it, and they had turned down 2 of the other areas.
Okay, well, how many intersections would have to be equipped to have a true test of this?
We're proposing to do DeYoung and Court, Russell and DeYoung, and Carbon and DeYoung. That way they're in sequence.
Okay, it'd be the 3.
The 3, that's on the try and buy.
Okay. What would it cost us to have, a 90-day trial?
It doesn't, 60-day trial doesn't cost us anything.
Oh, 60 days, okay.
Is no charge.
Oh, well, it sounds like a winner to me.
After the 60 days, we decide whether we want to continue or buy them 3 intersections and try it for a while, or move on to other priority intersections.
We get a 60-day trial at those 3 intersections at no cost.
That's right.
Is that right?
So what would be the installation? I understand the software cost, but who has to put it in?
We take
You guys do the installation and everything,
We
too?
work with the vehicle installers to do it, because we're not going to drill holes in your roof to put a GPS antenna up there.
My department's going to do that, so.
We'll take care of that and let you use it.
Everything's all done
Proves
in-house.
itself.
Sounds to me like it's worth
60
the
days. I
trial.
mean, I still have the same reservations, and it's based a lot on experience as well as empirical and data and experience of other people, so.
Well,
How many cities did you say? 31,000? What did you say?
3,100 in North America.
3,100?
In North America.
There are a lot of silly people in, aren't there?
well, okay, are you going to make a motion to try this for 60 days?
Yes, I'd make that motion to try the tie and buy program for 60
Okay,
days. If we
Jim
don't like
seconds
it,
it.
we don't have to use
All
it.
right, let's call the roll.
Hang on here. You know, these guys ought to be able to kick in here too. On D Young, we pretty much got a free flow of traffic. Those, well, I mean, I'm on it every day. I mean, you know, those lights are set up to move that traffic east and west. Am I right or wrong, Glenn?
I can't answer that.
Yeah, he's right.
Well, we're only talking about a trial at no
I
cost.
think we got,
There's a safety.
to me, you know, we can, you know, vote to try them three, but I think we got worse intersections in Marion. I think Main and Court, Boulevard and Court's two of them.
Well, we can change the intersections.
The one thing, with the experience we have with it is, we actually control Fort Main.
We can.
We already have it set up.
Okay, you got it set up there, but.
You do.
all right.
But the fire department does manually control it. When we leave, we can hit a button and it activates Court Street to green to give us.
Yeah, sure, because this is very close to the station, but now we're talking about intersections away from that you would not control from the fire station. Isn't this so?
Sure.
Okay, now, have you got other intersections besides the three that they've mentioned? Okay, we got a motion made and seconded to give this a 30-day trial at no cost to...
60-day trial.
Oh, 60-day trial at no cost to the city. Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
No.
Commissioner Hightower?
No.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Butler?
Yay.
Now, I want to ask a question here. At the end of this 60 days, if the city doesn't, you know, well, are we obligated to start this in 60 days?
No, we'll work with you to take it out if you don't want it.
It's a trial. If we don't like it, we don't keep it.
I mean, who's going to be the trier of the fact, though? I mean, who's going to say whether we like it or not? Is there going to be some survey?
We'll see the experience. We'll see what happens.
I mean,
That's...
but that's a subjective measure, though. Do we have?
No. You'll see how, if it works, you'll see it physically. Yeah, Doug?
Anthony gave you 40-some years
There's
of,
software in there where we can tell how many times this intersection
Yeah,
is
almost.
used for preemption. If it's whatever the emitter's in, if it's in a fire truck, it's an EMS, it tells how many times every 2 weeks or every month that emitter, that program was used on each intersection.
Okay.
That'll give us some data to know if they used it 500 times.
Very objective. It isn't subjective.
No, well, here's a point you always ask. Where's the money going to come from?
Wait, this is a trial.
No.
It is.
No, if we're thinking ahead,
wait a
as
minute.
a city and a council, we need to be...
It'll come from TIF money for most of the intersections, depending on the intersections that we implement. But right now, we're obligated to go with a trial for 60 days at no cost.
And to answer, I believe Terrence passed out, we had our 911 coordinator had looked at what intersections crossed over our street lights and what intersections were already in TIF. We talked with Steve about that today. And I think Terrence handed out a sheet that talks about which areas would be in TIF, because we were looking at what areas, intersections could be TIF eligible for the part of the funding. The vehicles would not, but part of the intersections.
With the program.
Yeah, if we went ahead.
Yeah.
Because part of it is, as you know, we just try to look ahead.
But we,
How many accidents was out there? I saw a figure on that. Who has that tally? On D Young?
Well, I'd ought to be able to tell you how many accidents were at any intersection.
They can do that, Andy.
Yes.
And I thought you had a...
There was a handout that said how many accidents that there were. Every day starting at Route 37 and 13 east to 148 shows an average of 30,000 cars. One police car traffic accident costs the city $30,000 per vehicle. One fire truck accident can cost between $500,000 and $800,000.
That's if you have those accidents.
If you have.
What we're
We had
talking
a bunch of
about,
accidents here that on 2015,
That,
that was a total of dispatch calls, what it is.
I got that, but that doesn't
Yeah.
tell how many accidents
I understand.
actually happened in a particular intersection.
I quite
IDOT can,
I quite
well,
understand that.
we're talking about trying to prevent accidents.
All I'm saying on this, Anthony, is that these dispatch calls on DeYoung in the year of January 2015.
there's nobody
Let me
anymore
finish
up
on
on
it.
this council that
Can I finish this one?
spent their life.
Can I finish this?
Go ahead, then I'll start.
Thank you. You had dispatch calls was 21,000 one year on DeYoung in court in that area. You had 911 calls of 10,600. You had 1,900 ambulance calls in 1 year in DeYoung and Court Street area. That is a heck of a lot of calls, guys. So there is a big need, as Gail said, about workman's comp and damage to people and lives. It's worth doing.
The details you're talking about will not be necessary to consider until we've had our 60-day trial. Let's have the trial and see what the results are objectively, and then we'll decide whether or not we want to undertake it. So that should settle that for the time being. Now,
Well, I mean, I just,
I appreciate your
I don't want
expertise and your experience.
anybody to think I'm against this, but,
You voted against it, but that's okay.
I voted against it because I'll tell you exactly why. You were talking about $300,000, and then next November, when we have to do our taxes, and it comes up about having to raise our tax 8 cents to cover our pensions, and we throw a tirade about that. And then we're spending $300,000.
Hey, look!
I just want to separate, is this a want or a need? And right now, I haven't been able to do that, Mayor.
That's why we're going to have the trial. That will determine if there's a need, and then if we want to try to do something to satisfy it. So enough of this discussion. We're going to have the trial for 60 days. We'll have it objectively looked at and decide. Until then, it's all speculation, and there's no sense wasting our time. Okay, anyone else have something that we need to take up?
There goes your $1,500.
Okay. If
Well,
that's
that's money well spent.
okay. Well, let's look at the approval for an ABS pump for the refugee, I guess that means refuge,
Oh, yeah.
lift station.
Sorry about that.
I mean,
That is in the,
do the refugees need a pump?
they may.
Okay. Anybody can tell us anything about these we're talking?
Yeah, I have kind of a differing, apparently they had a pump go out of the lift station, and they were going to repair it, but they said it was rather costly, so they were taking bids. But I have a letter here, or a note from Brent saying that they went ahead and repaired it for $4,006.08, but there's an agenda item saying they're going to, like, actually replace it, so I'm not sure where.
Well, is it replacing the same pump that was repaired?
It doesn't say, really, and I hadn't spoken to them about it. Do you have any information on it, Brian?
No, I
haven't spoken to him. I just saw him the other day, too. He didn't mention anything about it. So, I mean, I guess obviously if he's already spent the money on the repair, we have to go forward with that. But at this point, I don't feel comfortable purchasing another one so I can get verification.
Okay, well, let's table.
What was it for?
Oh, it's a bunch of
Oh.
Who did the repair, Angela?
CNC pumps. You hear anything about?
That ABS didn't repair, CNC repaired the pump, so I'd say he's probably had the pump repaired.
Instead of replace, so I guess the agenda, we can table it until we,
Yeah, it says
May not even be
bid to
necessary.
repair existing pump is $4,300.
Well, Steve,
Did you repair for
What was that 65,000?
Or 6,500.
Secondary funds. That's a totally different thing. That's down.
Well, it's on the consent agenda, but
Yeah, that's what goes, Dwayne can tell you all about that project there, the secondary pumps.
The pump, the 436637 repair and the 7419
But that big amount you're talking about is, yeah, it's a big project down there.
We'll get to that when we get to the
No.
consent agenda.
okay. No, it's, what, it become an issue with me because they tried to run it through water instead of sewer, and Anthony caught it. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have discussion about
Oh,
it.
if it's something that had to be done, I just remember that coming up, and, I didn't know.
Well, is the
if this
pump
was
in the
this-
sewer plant or the water plant?
It's in the sewer.
It's in the sewer.
Yeah, this was a lift station or something. Glenn, do you remember that? It was back in September 9/23 of 2016. Some pump it it was for the sewer, and I think it was $65,000, wasn't it?
Is that secondary?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one we didn't talk about last week's project. and that
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, has it,
project.
have we obligated to spend the money yet?
On that project, yeah.
Yes.
This looked,
Now, which project?
the
Secondary pump.
The secondary pump, you're looking at close to $200,000 project.
How much?
It was close to 200,000 down with the plant, not a lift station.
That was approved last
It
year.
doesn't-
That was
Yeah.
approved, and that's being paid
No.
out of the debt service fund.
They've already
Yeah.
approved that.
Yeah, we already did that. I just caught him trying
Okay.
to sneak it through my budget.
So at any rate, it was a table
All
one.
right,
Yeah.
then I assume it would be your motion that we approve the bid for 4366, table the other two until we get clarification.
Yes.
That's your motion.
Yes.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Vanilla,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Okay. All right, tell us about the fire department creating full-time computer man.
Actually, Mayor, number 3, we probably need to go ahead and act on number 3 first, because that'll lead into number 2.
Okay, because we got to have the opening before we can hire. All right.
And what we've got is Greg Jones, he's our part-time fire department clerk, has submitted his resignation, and I make a motion to accept that resignation.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanilla,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Now,
Yeah, so if we go back to item number 2, what the fire chief and I have been talking about is going ahead and making that same position, a computer tech data entry position, a full-time position, with the hopes of maybe being able to, once we get somebody trained, to have them stay in there, at a full-time position. The hourly rate would be $13.99 per hour, and that would be my motion. There may be some discussion.
I'll second.
got
No,
a second?
Yeah.
Call the roll.
I know there's been a need there for a long time.
Okay, go ahead, call the roll.
Commissioner Vanilla,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, want to tell us about Lynn Boyd from the library?
This just needs the council approval. She had resigned and a position, she was in the circulation department, and it's an existing position. The library has over 200 applications still current from the last person that we interviewed, so they are interviewing people to fill that position. We just need to have the council accept her resignation.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanilla,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, several items here with regard to the Hub Recreation Center. So Chris, tell us what's going on.
Yes, Council, Mayor, happy birthday as well. I don't know if you've had a chance to read all the names on your Hub birthday banner over here.
Oh, see, everybody should know that it is the Hub staff that is responsible for that big banner.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it.
That's right. That's right.
Tell them that we appreciate it.
Okay, sure will. Okay, the agenda items for requesting your approval include some part-time hire recommendations within aquatics. Pam Teeter for swim instructor at $20 an hour rate. And actually, in addition, well, I'll go through in order here. Alexis Rhinesmith, also a part-time position in Child Watch at $8.50 an hour. Katie Green on the fitness floor, wellness attendant at $9 per hour. And then within sports and rec, Charles Cooley as a basketball instructor at $15 an hour. And in addition to that, for Charles, what I'm requesting is what I don't have on here is sports and rec for Charles Cooley at $8.50 an hour. So it's just an additional classification for Charles. So that's the first segment there.
Your recommendation is?
How many hours are they expected to work on average?
Pam Teeter, probably initially about 4 to 5, probably between 3 and 5 hours a week to accommodate a couple other instructors that are actually reducing hours. Alexis, we're looking at, I believe, 2 shifts, 4-hour shifts, so 8 hours a week. Katie Green, I do not have those hours, but it's well under the 20 an hour. It's probably for, I'm not certain about that, but.
These replacements, by the way, or?
They're replaced, yeah, we're not increasing hours in those departments, except in the case of swim instruction, we're hoping, of course, to increase the instructional level. In addition to that, basketball instruction, we're needing to get that program back to offering more basketball lessons per week. And that for Charles, we're looking at 4 to 8 hours per week. We expect that to be a maximum on that initially. We'd like to hire more in the basketball instruction area, but we don't have the program and the justification for that at this time, so.
I'll make that motion unless there's.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Ranella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Butler?
Yay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and then our staff status change, we've had our Leela Crane working in 2 different departments in maintenance and cafe for quite some time. We've needed increased hours in both of those areas, and she's working virtually full-time level at about 38 hours a week. So what I'm requesting on that is basically bringing her to a full-time status. She is right now receiving mostly full-time benefits right now, so, and that's at no pay rate change at $9 an hour.
What's your pleasure?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Ranella?
Yay.
Commissioner
Throw me
Webb?
off.
Yay.
And Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler?
Yay. Go ahead.
Okay. Also within aquatics, what we're looking at is we've seen an increase actually in our swim lesson program, and we're needing to accommodate some of those new swim lessons coming in with current staff that are in the lifeguard position. They've been there for, one of them's been there since we opened. Tyler Underwood, recommendation to job classification as a swim instructor, and then Josh Siddick, also a current lifeguard, recommendation to additional job classification of swim instructor for those duties.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler?
Yay.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The next part on the hub, we have 3 different projects or 3 different things to speak to. Gail White, as we mentioned, I think at previous meetings, has been working with Ben Boyd on the HVAC investigation and rehab project for the hub. As he inspected it, he took a lift and has found he needed to investigate the envelope, basically how the wall and the roof has been installed, because we have, if you haven't driven past, we have quite a bit of moisture content in the pool. And before we finish the investigation and the recommendations to the council on how to improve the dehumidification, Gail White and Ben Boyd concurred that we needed to investigate the moisture content and the building envelope. And there were two different, Gail White proposed first to have an infrared thermography of the aquatic building wall and envelope. And there was a proposal attached from Infrared Diagnostics. What he had told me over the phone was there aren't too many firms that do this. And I did talk to our fire chief because our fire department has a camera. However, the fire chief said that they wouldn't be able to take what they could do and translate that into the diagrams and the leakage to recommend of what would need to be completed or fixed if there was something. The same firm also looks at the roof moisture and if there is some areas that have not been closed in. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead. Before any further work is done relative to a definite solution relative to the condensation, relative to, we talked previous council about mixing of the air, all those components affect performance of the, basically the air handling. And before actually anything is done relative to the building structure, we should know what is happening with it. Essentially, where relative to the construction process, the structure, where are there actual breaks, where there are actual areas that are not efficient in order to for an air handler to effectively handle the air. So essentially, before you actually go in and do any work on it, where are the major problems within the building structure?
Are they going to do this at night? Or do you know yet?
Well, if the
Or would it
council
matter?
approves it, we will be, Gail White will be discussing with them. It's actually, it doesn't take them a long time, because it's basically camera, some is outside, and they use a lift. So it doesn't, it's not construction, it's basically they're taking pictures and diagnosing with this. And it would probably be in a non-pool time.
In other words, what is proposed here should be done without interrupting the flow of the activity.
Yeah, we
Well, my only thought is, don't you get better thermal imaging under dark conditions, right, Jerry?
Well, if we do cameras, it really doesn't matter. It's going
Okay.
to pick up the heat loss, the differential in the temperature, what it's going to read. Probably wouldn't know that.
Well, I'm sure that the architect and the engineer will try to do this under the appropriate.
They would coordinate this to get the best results. The other part of this would be, there's a question of how much insulation is in the rotunda roof, and Mr. White wants to have a core sample cut because the building specs called for a certain amount of insulation. Insulation. Thank you. And so we would need to see what was actually, how much insulation is actually in there. In order to do that, they would have to cut a core sample of part of the roofing area. This would be from the inside. And the third part of this proposal would be for White and Borgoni architects to analyze the results and get back to what they would recommend, which will all come back to council if there's any recommendations. So these three areas, this would be under the hub TIF, part of that rehab project. So the infrared thermography is $6,925. The core samples from Care Brothers is $1,005. And the on-site monitoring, arranging, interpreting results under Gail White would be $2,500 for White and Bergoni.
Comes to a little over $10,000 total.
But it does give some basis and data to base results on before moving ahead.
I make the motion, accept the proposal.
I'll second.
White and Bergoni.
Motion made, second, call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. A little bit of an interlude here. Jim
Headlines.
handed me a group of birthday cards from a fifth grade?
Fourth grade. My daughter
Fourth grade
teaches fourth
class
grade, yeah.
at
Lincoln School.
Lincoln
Marion.
School. And it's very nice.
I will say one of them's note my daughter pointed out said that this little girl says, I heard it's really hard turning 8.
Well, now, there's more truth to that.
Oh, I don't know, guys. I got a picture from Friday night. It wasn't too hard. with 2 beauty queens on each side of him. Yeah.
Well, I must say that I've certainly been gratified and humbled at the number of people who have celebrated my birthday, either in person or in cards. And in fact, I think many of the people in the City Hall provided refreshments throughout the day. And of course, I guess they knew that my favorite flavor is chocolate. And they delivered every kind of chocolate delicacy imaginable. And my waistline is proof of how good it is. But I have the card here. It says, on behalf of the 650 students and staff of Lincoln Elementary, happy birthday, Mayor Butler. Enjoy your 90th. Respectfully, John Fletcher and staff from the Lincoln School. And I tell you, some of these things are really, really something. I'll make them available for anyone who would care to see them. Oh my, this one goes, says, happy birthday, happy 90th, and then it says, P.S., happy early Valentine's Day. No, where else but a fourth grader?
Conservationists already.
And it says, God bless you, your wife, and your home. I wish you a happy, happy birthday, and I thank you for all the wonderful places in Marion you have provided us. You are a, gee, I don't know if that's miraculous or marvelous. Something. Thank you. Lots of love. And then I assume it's a girl. She signed her name there.
Well, you got your hearts for Valentine's Day with the V in them, see?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's typical of these, and I really cherish them.
Mayor, one other funny thing, when I went to my daughter's house to pick them up tonight, I think my little granddaughter had been up here early today to see, and
oh, yeah,
she handed those to me, and she just said, Bob. Bob. She's 2 years old.
His granddaughter is a lovely person, I tell you. And they kept the grandmother had the little child, and from time to time they'd say, throw a kiss. And boy, she was throwing kisses just all over the place. I mean, a lovely, cute kid. And I thought, to think that at one time I was 4 years old, but I was never anything like that. So it is sincerely appreciated and gratifying. Now, back to business. Ordinance 3363, talking about the Midland Parkway Tax Increment District.
The council will find there are 3 ordinances. These are the ordinances to establish a TIF. The first ordinance, which is 3363, sets the plan forth, showing that there is a need for redevelopment of an area because of the qualifications of the area being blighted and has conservation needs as far as water and drainage. And that they have projects in this redevelopment area that would increase employment and bring businesses or more business to our area. So that's the first ordinance. And this is on Meadowland Parkway, which is just south of the airport.
Okay, what's your pleasure with respect to ordinance 3363?
Make a motion to pass ordinance
I'll second.
3363.
And a second, call roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. 3364.
Okay, this ordinance designates the land area that's referred to in the previous plan that was approved. So this is the area of land, has the legal definition, and so that would be the second one to approve, which would be the parcels that would be south of the airport that border Glen Clarida Lane and Butler Industrial Park.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. All right, ordinance 3365.
Okay, of the last of the three, this ordinance has the council adopt tax increment financing, which, as you know, the TIF Act works on an increase in equalized assessed valuation that can be in turn used with a developer to help incent eligible expenses as determined through the state statutes. So this has the council approve the TIF financing.
I'll make that motion too.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella.
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay. I think might go back up to old business. Do we need to consider the project estimate for Carbon Street and Hill Avenue intersection improvements? Do we have anything on that?
Yes.
This is the cost estimate. It should be in the back of it. You guys still have that from your last packet, the engineering agreement that had the cost estimate behind it? This is what we tabled last time. A couple of you asked about this before. Here is a schematic of what a roundabout at that intersection would look like.
See his. Let them have it. I can get his. Last time.
North that way.
You know, metal pencil way down there to block it.
Is that the same? As we talked about last time, we have, basically, it's a $1.8 million project for a single-lane roundabout there at the Hill and Carbon Street.
How does that compare in size to the first roundabout? Is it twice the size? Or?
From outside curb to outside curb, it's like at Russell and Boulevard was 105 feet. This is going to be if I recall, in their dimension on there.
111?
Well, the outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 158. Yeah.
So close to 160. I looked at some other roundabouts, and that's what we've kind of got approval from the roundabout, I say expert that we used in the past. There's some of these that are going to the Metro East area. If anybody's been like at Highway 15, there in Belleville, they've put some in that have a higher ADT to this. They're 150 foot, one diameter, one's 170 foot, so it's in that range of what we're using right there. They've actually used theirs. It's an on-ramp onto Highway 15 for the local roads, and rather than, we could have done this, like say, at the Diverging Diamond. So that's another thing that's going along with the Diverging Diamond is actually having roundabouts at both sides of like an interstate rather than the lights. So it's another option, but there's a couple up there that's putting in.
That was more than just the roundabout, though.
Yeah, that whole roundabout was $1.8 million.
Including the roundabout, yeah. What is the estimated cost on the roundabout by itself?
Just construction?
Yeah.
At the back of that packet is two cost estimates, one for widening. This also included widening Carbon Street from the Hill Avenue down to Princeton. That construction was $67,000 with total widening of it is $100,000. Construction is $1.25 million on construction of that roundabout, with $1.7 being total. We have 8% contingency, the design engineering, construction engineering, and then of course we have appraisals and right-of-way in there.
Yeah.
Have we bought the right-of-way yet?
No, that's one thing we've kind of started kind of inching forward before you've got the engineering agreement approved, or not approved, on your agenda for the night, is starting design. So we've begun topographic surveys. We've not got to that point yet, but what we've done is parcel sketches. Glenn's got large surveyors, and they've started the parcel sketches of what we would need for the right-of-way for this.
It's being appraised now, and he said he'd have it done in about 4 to 5 weeks, just to get him the appraisals of the properties we need before we can even start negotiating.
But if we flip over now, we've got Russell Street bought, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay,
And that will be done, hopefully we'll get that going in June.
okay.
So, said what, TIF money would be paid for this? Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
It's a TIF eligible project, yeah.
And so the whole thing,
TIF eligible?
and we have enough TIF funds for the whole thing?
Well, I've got, I've built it into my listing, that initial amount that we had.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we
So-
should have,
all right.
so we do, yes.
Yeah. That sounds good. Well, that being the case, what's your pleasure with respect to the engineering agreement?
I make the motion to accept the agreement.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And I vote aye. Okay. Does that take care of item B under old business? Talking about project estimate and then the agreement. I think we're in business. That being the case, what have you got, Anthony?
We have 9.
Did we do
We do
9
item
yet?
9?
Did we do 9 yet?
No.
9?
No.
I thought we had.
No.
We've done 10, but we haven't done 9.
We
Okay.
skip around.
No, we hadn't. I had it circled, but we haven't done it. All right. Discuss concrete supplied by Odom Concrete for the west side of Interstate 57, east side of Interstate 57. Glenn, could you explain a little bit what happened here?
Get your packet. Did everybody get the packet of the description of Jim, John, Anthony? Okay.
Yeah.
If you've read that, the city has no legal obligation, I think I stated in here, to pay zero. What happened is that the supplier of the concrete made a mistake in his quotation to the general contractor, who was E.T. Simons, and he quoted a very low number, which was a very light pigmentation color in the concrete, which was 2%. He furnished part of it at 6% and part of it at 4%. And in the bottom line, it made a difference in his quotation. He ate about $68,000. It was his mistake. He admits it. He didn't personally ask for anything. The contractor, which was E.T. Simons, said, guy made a mistake. The city got a break of $68,000 on the bid, and Simons paid him back $20,000. And he said, do you think the city would be willing to pay anything on it? I said, I don't know. I said, I'll put the facts together, give them to the mayor and council, and let them discuss it and see what they want to do.
Johnny, didn't we already pay part of this, or?
Yeah, you had originally discussed it, and what I think you had decided was if we had any money left out of the bond issue monies, then you would then look at it.
That's right.
It was like,
We spent all our money. We had
okay.
At the time,
a little left over. We spent every dime of it plus. a
It
little-
makes this easy then.
At the time of the request, at that time, the city had not received the $1,250,000 from DCEO for the hub.
But that wasn't part of that
Just let me finish. And then we said, if that money comes in, they would discuss it. And there was no commitment made.
What do you recommend, Gail, that we do here?
Well, part of it is, if we don't have a legal obligation, I could go back and use Anthony's wants and needs and say, I'm sorry, but when if we pay, it's not an obligation of ours to do. It would be nice, but we've paid extra for contractors before because of an error that maybe we made.
All right, as I understand it, you're talking about 2% pigmentation is what it was supposed to be, but...
No, he quoted him, he made a mistake in his quotation, Mayor.
Okay, and where did the mistake occur then?
He was quoting 2% pigmentation in the concrete, for color of the concrete, which is $28.69 a square yard extra.
Okay.
I confirmed this with Solomon Colors out of Springfield.
Yeah, that's what he quoted, but then what did he spend?
And the story, he comes to me and he says, I want you to pick out the pigmentation and approve this, because he said, I want it in writing so that there's no misunderstanding. I picked out the 4%, which Solomon Colors said there's little difference between 4 and 6%. But the 4%, well, he had 6%, he furnished on the east side, 4% on the west side. Okay, one's $86 a yard, one's whatever I have here, $130 a yard. And which gives you a nice bright red color out there. But as Gail said, the city has got, that was his mistake, not ours.
But the city is the beneficiary of his mistake. Isn't that so?
Well, actually, E.T. Simons was.
Simon, we don't have a contract with the concrete supplier. We have a contract with E.T. Simons.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's correct.
Glenn, question, was there, if we was to pay any on this, would it be an issue with IDOT or federal highway since it's competitively bid?
It was local funds that paid for this, not no federal or state monies.
Okay.
But the council would have to decide where the money would come from. Would it come from the street department? road
Probably.
This is just a discussion item anyway. I mean, we can't even vote on it.
Yeah, but we are discussing it, so we'll know what to do if it comes to a vote.
And the number I put in there was a number, if you decide to do something, that's strictly up to you. If you would decide to do something, I said the maximum I would even consider would be that number of $15,000.
Yeah.
You could pay $500, you could pay $100 if you wanted to, or pay nothing. I mean, you're not under any obligation to pay anything.
Yeah, and when I said the city is a beneficiary, I'm saying the city is the beneficiary of the better quality color in the concrete.
And it came under bid anyhow, didn't it, Glenn?
Come in $140,000. The contractors, I put it in this memo, the contract amount was $5,184,705. The final contract amount was $5,042,530 for $142,174 below the contract.
So
Less than,
yeah, we were prepared to
we were prepared to pay it.
I'm just talking about the construction contract.
What was that bond? How much was it? 18 million?
Well, we had 3 separate bond meetings.
Yeah, but
Probably the other one we're talking, well, we spent a total of probably, 10, 11 million out there, besides the state money.
Yeah.
We probably 10, 11 million dollars in bond proceeds we spent.
At least.
Maybe I remember at the time we were doing that, we was doing the hub, we was doing the police station. And so overall, we actually spent all the bond proceeds and actually spent then a little bit more out of the TIF to make up for, they'll make up for the difference.
Yeah, well, it just comes down to the fact we're not legally obligated. And do we feel that there may be a moral obligation to some degree? E.T. Simons is picking up 20,000 of that 68, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This is a Marion business, right?
Yes.
Oldham Concrete.
Yeah.
But and I want to make it clear again, he has never officially requested a penny.
Yeah, and that's to his credit.
Yeah.
So this came from E.T. Simon.
E.T. Simon said, and he didn't make a request, he said, do you think the city would? I said, I have no idea, we'll just present it and see. And that's why we're here tonight. If you say no, that's fine too. If you say yes, you decide
Well, I
amount.
certainly wouldn't be in favor of making up the difference, but By the same token, I wouldn't be opposed to paying him something, $5,000 or whatever.
I think we ought to make it a goodwill gesture on it of some kind,
Yeah.
even though we're not
agree.
obligated, but they do good work for us, and they've always treated us fairly.
Yeah, and of course, this council is full of the milk of human kindness. We're a benevolent group, and we don't want to spoil our record. So, what you're thinking?
My thinking is that we had previously agreed that if we had any monies left over in this bond, then we might think about making that gesture, but since we don't, you know, no, I don't think we have an obligation.
We don't have a legal obligation.
We don't have an obligation, and we don't need to expend monies that weren't obligated to that. I mean, hey, guys, we're paying back that bond, and that's a chunk of change. And, you know, so, I mean, that's something else we need to consider. You know, we had, at one time, we had a tremendous bond debt, and kind of still do. By the end of the term of this council, that bond indebtedness will be down to about 50%.
Of what it is now.
What it started out.
Yeah.
And 2 years past that, it'd be down to about 33%. So, you know.
Where are we right now? About?
What would our bonded indebtedness be right now, Steve?
From the original amount paying down.
I don't know.
Steve, come on.
I mean, what do we?
Do you not go to bed thinking about that stuff, Steve?
No, I don't.
Yeah, at one time, it was about 52 million.
That's what we got. That was water, sewer.
That was
Yeah, that was
a whole
schmo.
whole lot of stuff, yeah. And
that now?
if it hadn't been,
That now?
Well,
if it hadn't been for the bond issue, major projects of the city could not have been done.
no, and
wouldn't have been any money.
you're absolutely right, Mayor, and that's something that the city council did.
Yeah.
We invested in this city and invested money, I think, very wisely and in a good, you know, future outlook for the city. But, you know, still here again, we're having to make payments on that bond.
Yeah, well, if we don't want to pay anything, we are not legally obligated to, we don't have to.
But this is democracy, so, you know,
Yeah, sure,
I don't
everybody-
feel obligated, and that's just my opinion.
I'm with you on that.
Okay, well, let's put it this way,
But we can't take it for a vote tonight anyway. It's,
Right.
you know,
I think we've had some discussion. We'll put it on the agenda for action one way or another at our next meeting. Okay, having said that, what do you?
I have, I make a motion to pay the monthly bills as funds become available.
Need a second.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Yeah. Also make a motion to pay the consent agenda, and one part of it to Jacob and Klein's is going to be contingent upon an explanation of their new billing procedure. And I don't think that Steve's got that yet, so I'll make the motion to pay the consent agenda. Jacobs and Klein will be contingent upon explanation of the new billing procedure.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
and Mayor Butler.
Yay. Anything else?
That's all.
Okay, Angelo?
Negative.
Okay, Jim?
Nothing?
John?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, this is a regular meeting. Is there any reason for this to be continued?
No.
Our next regular meeting would be
February
Special meeting.
13th.
February 13th. Oh, that's 3 weeks away.
That's it. Happy Valentine's Day.
If anyone is so inclined to join any of us, we have chocolate cake, chocolate desserts, right back here to celebrate the mayor's 90th. But I do think being a council, and I know we have great singers up here, they should sing. We should sing "Happy Birthday" to the mayor.
I think so too.
Oh, no.
And you're on microphone, you know.
Yeah, let me be the conductor.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
It was
Here we go. Okay.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mayor. Happy birthday to you.
You're stronger than this song was.
Thank you. You think there's any,
I don't think we'll get an Oscar anytime.
no Grammys?
Grammy.
No Grammys.
Call animal control, guys. I think there's dogs loose there barking.
So we get up and
Oh, boy. Oh, and
The motion to close.
Oh, yeah. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have these cards from the 4th grade of elementary, Lincoln Elementary. You need to look at them. They are precious.
Can we call?
Got a motion made and seconded. Call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower, Commissioner Webb,
Said poor.
Commissioner Webb.
I saw